I'm just having copious amounts of carbs.
Yeah.
You really don't need to.
Welcome to the Sub 220 Marathon Project video series, Season 2, Episode 2. Matt here, thank you for tuning in. This is a summary of the second week of training leading into the Osaka Marathon taking place on February the 26th. There is 9 weeks to go now, and training has really picked up over the last couple of weeks in terms of overall volume. And obviously there's been some changes made transitioning from the 5K, 10K block to the marathon specific block. But we'll get all into those details after I thank the sponsors of this video series. The main sponsor being Soar Running Apparel, based out of the UK, my go-to training and racing apparel brand that I've been using for over a year now. I'm a massive fan of Soar's racing kit, especially their marathon shorts and marathon speed shorts that you can store up to 8 gels in some instances if the gels are small. And I highly recommend you check out the Soar Running website if you're interested in their latest racing and training apparel. Top 4 Running, the second sponsor of this video series, are supplying me with all of my shoes in training and in racing leading up to the Osaka Marathon, and of course on the day of the Osaka Marathon. I'm currently enjoying using the Prime X, Adidas Prime X trainers. Sorry, they're racers really. They are, technically they're illegal according to the World Athletics rules. That is for elite athletes to race in, but they are such a great training tool because they have a very high stack height and they are super comfortable and very soft, and I'm recovering very fast using the Prime X. I highly recommend checking out the Top 4 Running website, and you can also score a small discount on the already very low prices at Top 4 Running. Precision Fuel and Hydration are the third sponsor of this video series. I've been using all of their products in training over the last, a little over a month now. I'm a huge fan of their gels in particular, and also their carb chews that I've been using before training, just a carbohydrate resource that sit really well in the stomach, and I highly recommend you check out the Precision Fuel and Hydration website to see what you might enjoy from the brand. Pillar Performance are the fourth sponsor of this video series. I have been using their triple magnesium powder for a few weeks now. That's really helped my sleep, and obviously I am a really large advocate for sleep, given that my job requires a lot of travel, and that's actually one of the things that I find hardest about traveling around the world and training and racing at the same time. And the Pillar Performance Triple Magnesium formula has really helped my sleep over the last few weeks, and I've been able to dig myself out of a small hole that I found myself in a few weeks ago with travel fatigue, thanks to Pillar Performance's nutrition. Okay, before I dive into the training week, that was the second week of training, I'm going to answer some of the questions that I enjoyed over the last week in the first episode. And if you have any questions, you can drop them in the comments of this YouTube clip. Gerard Casey asks, how do you trade off the satisfaction of actually going for sub 220 versus the benefit of the golden content in trying to hit it multiple times? What happens when you do it? I will say, Gerard, the last season was not staged. I did not run 224 to make a season 2. I was obviously trying very hard to run sub 220 then. I'm just kidding. I'm just documenting the journey really here. I'm not setting out to have particular seasons. Many people suggested that I do another season after I didn't break it the first time, because I think some people thought that I probably deserved to, because I was on track to break 220 and the injury at the very end stood in the way. But great question. It's just about documenting what I'm doing. I'm really just trying to stick to what works for me, and I'm very lucky to have Charlie and other people to help document the journey and share it online. Don Hinton, I think I remember you doing lactate testing with Lauren Goss a while back. She seems to do a lot of LT1 and LT2 training to great success. Do you consider lactate threshold in your training? I do, I just don't really measure it. I believe I know roughly where that pace/effort is for me in training now, approximately. Yes, it might be slightly over the exact millimole per litre amount of lactic acid I need, or it might be slightly under, but I know roughly where that is, and I know my personality type is so that I don't want to obsess too much over data, or I might overthink it all. So I'm trying to take an approach this block to run to feel more than anything, and that does have its pros, it does have its cons, but it is what most of the world's best marathoners do from what I've observed, not all. So I want to try and take that approach, and I believe that I've always raced my best when I train mostly to feel anyway. So that's the approach that I'm taking. Regarding the podcast that is aligned with this series. So a few people asked about how to access that. So I'm doing a short summary on the YouTube channel about the training week, and I'm going into great detail about the training week and answering many more questions in a private podcast that's available only to website subscribers and YouTube members. I want to add more value to these people that are supporting the brand financially. So we've got a few thousand paying website subscribers. You can find the link in the description of this video. You access all of the articles on our website for becoming a website subscriber, or you can join the YouTube members area, which I believe is $5 a month, and you access all the videos early. And this is essentially another version of Patreon, a supporters area where people can get a little bit more value but also support our videography financially. And if you are one of those people, you access the podcast as a private URL link. You do not click on the link if you've seen this link. If you are one of the website subscribers or YouTube members, you have to insert that link into your podcast player, and there are instructions everywhere on how to do that. It's just a couple of clicks. Are you starting your own coaching company? I have heard. Yes, we posted that on Instagram last week. We are starting our own coaching company. We did have a coaching partner that we've decided to separate from due to having different values, and we are starting our own coaching company starting officially in February, the Sweat Elite Coaching Academy. It's already had technically a soft launch. We already have almost 40 people in the club, and yeah, we're looking to make that a pretty big deal next year in 2023. You will learn more about that throughout this video series, but I'm looking forward to sharing more with you guys about that very soon, because there is going to be some huge value adds for Sweat Elite Coaching Academy members, including having access to a high-level physiotherapist at all times online, and also a lot of education from professional athletes and coaches as well. Okay, so the training week, that was the second week of training of the Marathon Specific Training Block. This is a very short overview. You will hear the full overview in the private podcast feed if you are a subscriber or YouTube member, over about half an hour, where I answer many more questions. On the Monday after the Pisa Marathon, I did a short recovery run of 5.3 kilometers at 5:18 per K. Little under 4 miles at about 8-9 minute mile pace, almost there. Very slow. I was a little bit sore the next day, but 2 days later I was completely recovered. Mostly just in the quads because I hadn't run that far in quite some time. On the Tuesday, a run with good friend Jack, testing out the ASICS Super Blast. More about them very soon. Just 9K at 4:52 per K. A little under 6 miles at a little under 8 minute pace. Again, I really should have had the miles up on my screen so I can convert quickly, but I'm doing it on the fly, or doing my best. In the afternoon, 10K at 4:30 per kilometer, 6.2 miles at about 7:30 per mile. So on the 21st of December, which was the Wednesday, I was still recovering at this point, so I had 3 easy days after the Pisa Marathon long run. 13.1K at 4:29 per kilometer, an hour easy run basically, at a little over 7 minute mile pace. And then in the afternoon, I did a short run, 5 kilometers at 5:34, very, very easy, just a shakeout. The next day, I did my first workout after the Pisa Marathon with Rose Harvey and her squad. A lot of fun. You'll see footage of this throughout this video episode. All of this workout. It was a total of almost 26K with a 10K warm-up, 3 miles in 16:05, which is 3:22 per kilometer, and then we did 4 sets of 4 400s in around about 70 seconds, give or take. Some of them were a bit quicker, some of them were a bit slower. I'll go through that in detail in the podcast. We had 45 seconds rest and 2.5 minutes between the set. So I tried to make it sort of a volume day where I did a longer warm-up, a relatively long cool-down as well, to make a total of 25.9K. Again, more details in the podcast. The following day, I did a 10K run in the morning and a 9K run in the evening, both pretty easy, both between sort of 7.5 minute and 9 minute mile pace, or 4:30 per kilometer and 5:20 per kilometer, both runs. And then on the Sunday, which was yesterday now, Christmas Day, I did a 32K run, which was 20 miles, where I did basically 10K easy to moderate when I ran to a park run. I then did a 5K before the park run at about marathon effort, a second 5K at the park run at marathon effort again, and then a 11.5K run home to make a total of 20 miles. So basically, 10.5k easy, 2x5k at marathon effort, and then 11.5k home. It was only because I took a longer route home that it made up 20 miles. I was originally planning on doing 30k, but it ended up being a bit more because I joined a friend on the way back, Nick Impey, who's living here in London, and just ran a slightly longer loop. So yeah, that was the training week. That totaled because I know many of you guys love to count the mileage, it's 131 kilometers. Again, I really should have had the mileage equivalents up on my screen, but I believe that's around about 80, I think, or maybe a little bit more, a little bit less. Not really counting the mileage specifically here. As I mentioned before, it is what it is at the end of the week, but I'm actually a little bit surprised that the first 2 weeks have been over 130. I didn't really plan for them to be. I was thinking that in this block it'd be closer to 120, but I'm just running, ticking the boxes each day, getting through what I believe is right for me and listening to the body every day. And if some days I had planned to do 20k, for example, 2x10k, if I wake up feeling absolutely exhausted, then I'll cut that short and maybe just do one run of 10k. And whatever the week ends up being, it ends up being. So yeah, that is the training week. That was the second week in training. I hope that you enjoyed this episode of the Sub 220 Marathon Project series. Hit the subscribe if you want to be notified for more of the Sub 220 Marathon Project video series coming up in the next 9 weeks. And I look forward to seeing you next time.
Morning, Matt.
Morning, Charlie.
How you feeling today?
Yeah, good. 4 days post Pisa Marathon, Pisa Long Run Marathon, where I didn't know how I would pull up from that. I figured I'd take 3 easy days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, so today's Thursday. And I hoped that by this point I'd be feeling pretty good, and yeah, I am. So, I mean, I realised that yesterday afternoon on a short jog, and I ran twice yesterday, and both were pretty, felt like I was fully recovered. So, yeah, picked today to do the next workout. I'm joining Rose Harvey and her training partner today. Rose Harvey, for those that don't know, she was first British at the London Marathon a couple of months ago, 2:27. And she's run 2:27, I think it's 2:27, 2:28, one of those two. She's run that twice, so Seville Marathon earlier last year as well. So she was on our podcast last week, loved the girl, and invited me to join her workout, which was very similar to what I was going to do. I had planned to do 15 by 1 minute on either Thursday or Friday, depending on how I recovered. And she's got a 3 mile tempo at 3:20 per K, 5:20 per mile pace. So 4.8k at 3:20s, and then 16 400s with short rest, 45 seconds. I think they're going to be like 72, 73. So, I was planning on doing a long warm up and 15 by 1 minute, very similar workout. She lives just down the road from me, so the track's just down the road. So I just did a 10k warm up, a long one, because I wanted to do a bit more volume. And I think it's a perfect little workout in between 2 long runs. So during this block, I'm doing long runs on the weekend, between 30 and 40k, with some of it at marathon pace, some of it a bit easier, and then in the week I'll do one workout at 5k, 10k half pace. So yeah, that's this workout, and just really making sure. At the moment, I'm big. I was telling Charlie in the warm up that I'm big on really. I'm getting more and more. My realization around carbs is that I was underfueling so much in previous blocks, and that I think it's mostly as a result of listening to a lot of Christian Blumenfeld and Gustav Iden, the triathletes that are dominating that space now. And yes, their training is unbelievable, and it's really high level, but their fueling is on another level. The amount of fuel they take in and around workouts, in and around races, is something that it's hard to wrap your head around. 120 grams, 150 grams an hour of carbs. And for context, that's a gel is 25 grams of carbs. Depends on the gel. So I'm really going down that path now to try and see what it can do for me. So I had 3 gels this morning. I had a bowl of cereal when I woke up at 5:30, but I had 3 gels between 9 and 10, and I'm going to have a couple more during this workout. So yeah, that's the biggest thing I'm probably changing in this block, which is not even training; it's just consuming more food. So yeah, so Precision have obviously hooked me up with the gels, and yeah, I'll just keep having these throughout the workouts. Just the simple ones. Just the 30 grams. I think there's 30 grams of carbs Yeah, 30 grams of carbs in those ones. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, people have asked like, what am I changing in this block? And that's the big thing. The training won't actually really change that much. So yeah, I think it's potentially going to make a big difference. So yeah. So
Nice.
yeah, they just finish up their warm up, and then we'll get started with the tempo. We're not allowed to ride the bike here, unfortunately, on this track. So Charlie will have to stand from the side. So apologies for the.
Put some work in.
Yeah, you'll have to do some work for once.
Nice. And you go with the Primexes again?
Yeah, Primexes. Illegal shoe, but I mean, illegal to race in as a professional. But I think they are the best training tool because they're so soft. I actually wore these at Pisa. I think I might have said in the previous episode, perhaps not. But because you recover so well from them, but you still get the impact. So yeah, I'm wearing them. I'm probably going to wear them most long.
You were just mentioning on the warm up that you feel pretty recovered from Pisa, but obviously it's still a marathon, and you got to respect the distance regardless of the
I
effort.
feel fully recovered, but I know deep down I'm not fully recovered. I'm like 90% recovered. So this workout will be at 85-ish% effort because if I nail this one, I'm probably risking digging myself into a hole, and I'm 9.5 weeks out from the race. Like, what's the point of that? If you're going to dig yourself into a hole at all, I argue that's probably not a good thing ever. But if you are at any point, you're better off doing it 3 weeks before and then quickly trying to get out of it. So I'm still so far away from the race, and that race told me I probably could run a 2:25 marathon now if I wanted to, because that was not a hard effort, not a 100% effort. And that's 10 weeks out from the race. So I've almost got to be a little bit careful that I don't get into, that I time my training well leading into the race. So that race was a great thing to do in my opinion. I hope this ages well and I don't pick up an injury soon. But I think it was a great thing because it indicated really where the fitness is at if I put myself in a race environment. Yes, I wore Primexes, but I will also say on the Primexes, I really don't think that they're any faster than Alpha Flights. I've worn both a lot now, like probably over 500 kilometers of both shoe, and I think that these are probably maybe a little bit softer perhaps, but I don't think they're faster. I think they're about the same, even though this stack height is a little bit higher. So, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Are you training for anything?
London next year.
Oh yeah, cool.
Just starting out.
Yeah, I'll be
You
doing
doing? Nice.
Yeah, I'm going to try and do the Osaka London double. I'm definitely doing.
Nice.
I'm definitely
When
doing
is
Osaka.
Osaka?
8 weeks before. So
Nice. Okay, that sounds good.
February
That's good.
26th. Yeah, I
I
figure
think
like
8 weeks is okay. I've done that before. Like an 8-week break between marathons. Always good.
Well, I figure like
No.
I trained through summer last year, and I really didn't like it because of the heat. So
Yeah.
I don't really want to train
Yeah.
in the summer anymore.
Yeah.
Like I just want to take that time, like just
Yeah.
jogging around and not training for a
Yeah.
marathon. So
Yeah.
so to get the races
Yeah.
in, I'd rather sort of stack two in a shorter period. But then I feel like
Yeah.
it'd be good to hear your opinion. Like if you put them too close, like 4 or 5 weeks, it's maybe a
Yeah.
bit tough. But if you put them like 8 to 10 weeks, it could
about 50
because you
months,
can
yeah.
have a week off after the first one.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what are we doing, Rose?
I think it's
Okay. Huh?
What's the workout?
Right, so we've got 3 mile tempo
Yep.
at like 5:20s. So it's like 80 seconds flat.
Yep.
Which is supposedly a controlled pace.
Okay.
See how controlled it was. And then 4 sets of 400s.
Yep.
So 45 seconds between
Each 4.
each 4, and then 2.5 minutes between each set.
Gotcha.
So you do 4, then
And-
2.5 minutes, then 4.
And between the 3 mile and the first set? Rest?
2.5.
3.5.
Yeah.
Cool. Who's leading? Ben.
I'll do that. Go on.
Got that.
Ready?
Right. No taking it off at 70s.
Don't worry. Like up. Yeah. Ready?
think we're like 16:05. Is that right? Yeah, just over 16 minutes per 3 miles.
Yeah.
4,800 metres. Not technically 3 miles. 3:21, 3:22, okay. How'd that feel, Rose? All right?
Oh, what you got going? Yeah.
We went out too hard. First K was 3:16.
Yeah, not right. Like, second half got rid of my first half.
Because we actually slowed down to the right pace.
Yeah.
The first K was
It's amazing
the
how,
first
like,
mile was
seconds.
5:15, I think.
Yeah.
Well, you were probably just over threshold a little bit in the first mile.
It's amazing how it can kill you, isn't it? Like, literally 5 seconds a mile. And I was trying to, like, think, keep it controlled rather than
Actually, not too too bad. I started drinking quite early.
kill myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always good. Yeah. 8, 9.
Thanks for facing me.
I'm just having copious amounts of carbs.
Yeah.
You really don't need to do that though, like, it's your session too, so
No.
don't worry about, honestly, please don't worry about dropping me. I'm used to it.
No, you're good. I mean, I ran a full marathon on Sunday.
Okay.
Sort of, not really by mistake, but
Yeah.
So I need to take today.
Okay, cool. But yeah, just please don't feel,
Yeah.
do whatever you need to do. I don't want you just coming to
Yeah, no worries.
It's a nice kit, Matt.
There's no one coming.
Yeah, Saul sent me this just this week. I think this is the new, is it the racing one? I think it is. But either way, yeah. Big fan. Obviously sponsor of the series, so.
Just coming for the book.
No, the jacket that I didn't have the jacket on. You didn't see the jacket in the warm up, but we'll show you afterwards. The yellow jacket. It's super thin. Where is it? No, we'll get it after. It's super thin, but it's like really warm as well. I don't know how they've managed to do it. Sorry, massive saw plug. But it's like so thin you can almost see through it. Well, you can see through it actually. But then when I put it on, it's like feels like I'm wearing a pretty thick jacket.
And then a minute.
I'm not going to put it on now because we're going to start the 400s in a minute. But yeah, massive.
Okay, so
There we go.
Yeah. And then you will around it.
Oh mate.
I'll go first. Right, I think we're going. 3, 2, 1.
I can only do it if you get
Three down. One more and then we're halfway through the 4s. I'm pretty good actually. It's like the marathon's not in the legs anymore, which is good. Definitely. I don't feel like I'm still with fatigue from that, which is good. Yeah. 15 seconds. 5 seconds. 3, 2. I've got a few gels for you if you want some. I never say no to that. just fellas, if I was taking a big sports drink with carbs, you wouldn't question it, would you? It's really no different.
No, I'm just curious. I'm curious.
Yeah, I'm taking.
I don't know if it has any digestive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's true. That's true. It is a bit
Gels
tough on the
come
stomach. Yeah.
15.
4, 2 before, 2 during.
Yeah, back.
But I'm actually training
5.
my stomach to be able to take more.
Okay, fair enough.
So it's part of the.
Yeah.
3, 2.
Two, one,
Right, yeah.
let's go. Last set.
Let's go.
4 to go.
2,
1 mile.
1.
Yep.
Nice.
2, 1. Yep.
Alright.
Nice.
2, 1.
Nice. See you, Rose? Good job. Oh! Give me a speed here. That's good. Yeah. I'm going to finish with 266s, 67 maybe. And yeah, awesome to join this group. Yeah, I haven't run with these guys before. And yeah, good fun. Just, I think that workout was just about running, you know, the 3 miles at
Oh my god, thank you so much.
tempo effort, and then the 400s are just at a 10k roughly pace, more or less, give or take a few seconds. And don't push it, just get it done, just roll over,
And in your mind,
just do the distance. Could have done a few more sets if we needed to, no point right now.
forgot you guys.
9.5 weeks out, so
Yeah.
no, good, tick the
I
box.
think so. You would have,
Thanks for coming out.
something
Ciao.
would have gotten in between. You would have like found some help. You still those into these ones.
So these guys are giving me shit the whole workout because I'm taking an excessive amount of gels, and to be fair, I probably deserve that. But I did say before, you know, like, it's not that I'm taking a gel, it's not that I'm taking a gel, I'm taking carbs. Like, I know it's in the form of a gel, but arguably I could have come with 2 litres of fluid and
I mean, that
lots of
would have
carbs in the fluid, and no one would have questioned me.
Yeah, we would have
is a lot, yeah.
Yeah, I could have taken pasta throughout the workout as well. No one would have questioned
bring
me
a
there.
jacket potato.
Yeah, but I had 4 gels in total, and I'm just trying to train my stomach to be able to take in a lot. And like I was telling you in one of the, I don't think Charlie caught it on camera, but I did say this earlier, is that the Norwegian triathletes are just massive on this, and it's made me research it more to realise that if you carb, or if you just have a massive amount of carbs before, during, and after, it improves your recovery because your muscle breakdown isn't so significant. And in general, you just never get to the point of like running out of glucose. So you're now the only downside to it is you can get a rough stomach. I'm like my downside in marathon is muscle cramping, but I can take in a heap of. I can eat a pizza and go for a run. Like I've actually done that to prove to a friend I can do it. Eat a full pizza and run. So I'm lucky that my stomach's strong. So I'm lucky that I can do this. Some people can't do it. But then at the end of marathons, I'm always cramping. So that's my downside, right?
Same here.
So I'm trying something new in this block and just having like an excessive amount of carbs in and around every workout to see what it does, to see if it helps me train better, to help my recovery. And
Why
so
gels over drinks?
Yeah, it could be either.
Just preference.
Because it's cold, I'm not losing that much fluid. I'd rather have minimum amount of quantity rather than having a heap of fluid.
And by workouts, do you mean either these sort of sessions or like
Long runs? Yeah. The easy runs.
Slow, long runs. Like you're still gonna do like a 2-hour slow, easy thing. You still.
I'd still have some carbs around that. Yeah.
I guess that's
But all
quite
the
a good way
easy,
of
all the
training
recovery
yourself,
days, not doing it.
So I actually did that after, because when I started, like, I didn't used to take gels or anything, and then I the first time I tried gels was in a marathon.
It's a light bulb moment, isn't it?
Yeah, disastrous there. I felt so ill. But
you got sick from it.
yeah, because I like never really had
because you
gels,
hadn't practiced
and then
with
I
it.
started
Right,
having
okay,
it in the
sorry.
marathon.
Yeah,
But I like training my stomach by having all my stuff on easy runs first.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then, because like sessions, I just couldn't tolerate it, and then I had gels on like all my easy, even like a 4-miler, I'd have a gel.
Yeah.
And then I got used to it.
Yeah.
Nathan Daly, thanks for sharing your time in the second episode of the Sub 220 Marathon Project series. You helped me solve my injury, or solve, what I originally thought was maybe tendonitis, which you figured out was not the case. Thanks so much for sharing your time in this episode. I would love for you to share with the viewers how you diagnosed the problem and what you got me doing.
Yeah, I mean, I really love, well, first of all, Matt, thanks for having me on the podcast. I appreciate it. There was just something suspicious about the pain, and I saw the emotional effect it had had on you. Just as you wrapped up the Berlin Marathon, you didn't know what was going on. And I had a good idea based on my training. I'm going through some advanced training right now, and it was just kind of a happy accident that I saw that particular video at that time after, learning some of these topics to realize kind of what you had going on. I'd love to talk a little bit about what was going on for you.
Yeah.
So I think
maybe you could give a slight, just a couple of maybe a 30-second piece on your background as a physiotherapist.
Yeah, so I've been practicing for a little over 6 years. I'm currently practicing in Durango, Colorado, here in Southwest Colorado, about 6.5, 7 hours away from. Well, 6.5 to 7. It's a bit of a drive through the mountains, but yeah. So I practiced for 4 years, up until 2 years ago in the U.S. Army. I was a physical therapist assigned to some brigade combat teams. I deployed to Iraq during that time. I also treated special operations forces, so Canadian coalition forces, Belgian Marine special operations, so Raiders, a Navy SEAL team at one point. So I worked with a fair number of elite people and people who really pushed their bodies to the limit. And the intersection between strength training and endurance training has always been really fascinating to me. How can you simultaneously retain some strength, prevent injury, but then also build up your cardiovascular training base and stay as injury-free as possible during that time? So that's a little bit about me, and I'm practicing currently with a ski-crazy snowboarding population here in Durango, Colorado.
Awesome. Yeah, so let's. Sorry, I interrupted you a little bit there, but it'd be good to hear about how you figured out what this is, and then what we did to solve it, because the pain went away very quickly, actually, in the matter of 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, so you had this really intense upper, I believe it was right, upper posterior thigh pain. What I started to see with you, and I saw in some of your videos when I rewatched them, is that you were shifted just a little bit to the left with your spine. That's a common response when the nerve root on the right side, usually on the lower sections of the lumbar spine, is getting irritated. So you were shifted away from that source of irritation. And then what would happen? You'd run at a faster pace for your interval or your track sessions. You did your bridges just before the Berlin Marathon, the strength training bridges. And some of those things asked you to arch your back. As you were coming into extension, you're already in this slightly shifted position. Your body didn't like that. It was irritating the nerve root and sending an electrical impulse down the back of the thigh, down the course of the sciatic nerve. So what I wanted to do for you was to identify how we could correct that shift first, bring you back to midline, and then re-educate you on how to arch or extend your back from there. So we corrected that shift first. We progress force to get you to arch your back in that new, better alignment position. And then from there, we locked it in with abdominal strength training.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the exercises that I was doing, I don't have the space actually in this little podcast room to show, but how would you describe how they were done?
Well, so typically what the person is going to do is, in your case, let's say you're shifted off into this left side. Well, your torso is going this way and your hip is going the opposite way, and you're trying to avoid irritation on this right side of your low back. Well, what we do in that position is we take a hand on the waist and we guide the hips back toward the wall while the trunk stays stationary and, relatively speaking, moves back to the right. So hand is on the wall, forearm is on the wall, hand is on the waist, and you're correcting for that shift. Once you've corrected for that shift and you've seen what response the patient has, you can progress them back to being able to arch their back without pain.
I was doing those exercises between 1 and 3 times per day. They only took a few minutes, maybe 5 to 10. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't take that long. And once the body gets out of pain, you're in a prime position to begin to strengthen your abdominals, strengthen your low back muscles to be able to hold you in that new position. It really works quite quickly. And this is all coming from the school of thought where we say, we want to correct a shift. This is shift correction and repeated movement or directional preference from physical therapy. If there are any physical therapists watching, this is sort of Robin McKenzie out of Australia, his bread and butter from the 1950s, 60s, and 70s. He was a classically, he was a kind of the godfather of certain physical therapy interventions.
Interesting. Thanks so much for sharing that. I'll put your Instagram handle in the description of the video and then also only overlay here. If anyone's experiencing a similar issue, definitely recommending getting in touch with Nathan. Really appreciate you reaching out to me and helping me solve the problem, because for a little while there, for the first few days after Berlin Marathon, I obviously had the concern that this might be something that haunts me for a while. Because 2 years earlier, when I ran in Lake Biwa Marathon and ran 2:24, I had an Achilles pain afterwards, and that lasted over a year of quite severe pain. So I was wondering if it was going to be the same issue. So yeah, I was pain free after less than 3 weeks, completely pain free, and it hasn't returned. So yeah, thanks so much once again for your help, and yeah, really appreciate it.
No problem. I was really happy to help you, Matt. Thanks.